What's up everyone, Andy Drifter here. Thank you so much for tuning into my channel. This video is going to be part 21 of my ongoing series, some of my favorite autographs, and this one is going to feature the running backs, the Bellcows. Just to let you know, all these autographs, they are from current players. Most of them have been acquired in person, some are purchases. I'm going to roll them out for you and tell me what you think. I've had the pleasure of meeting Christian McCaffrey twice. The first time in 2017, just a few days after the draft, where he was selected 8th overall. And then 2 years later at a signing in Houston, where he signed this 8x10 for me. Both times he was super pleasant to interact with. One of my favorite players to watch. I was so glad that he got a change of scenery at the trade deadline. He was rotting away in Carolina, that carousel of third-rate quarterbacks that they got going on down there. And now he has a chance to make his first postseason appearance of his career. San Francisco, they took care of business yesterday. They beat down the Cardinals in Mexico City. I think the final score was 38-10. Keep in mind that McCaffrey, he attended college in Stanford. He's originally from Colorado. So the West Coast is probably better suited for him. In 2019, he was selected to his first All-Pro team, as well as making the Pro Bowl. He had almost 2,500 all-purpose yards. In 2020 and 2021, he suffered several injuries, which limited his action to 10 games. That was a concern about McCaffrey coming out of college. Nobody questions his skill set. But durability was a question mark, being that he's a little undersized. He did have some injuries in college, but this year he has proven to be quite valuable and durable. Just a few weeks ago, he completed the trifecta of throwing a touchdown, catching a touchdown, and running in for one. A truly special player. His stats this year, 602 yards on the ground, along with 4 touchdowns. And in the air, he has caught for 462 and 2 touchdowns. If you look on the lower left-hand corner of this photo, it is authenticated by Beckett. For those of you that are younger, you may not know this, but McCaffrey's father, Ed McCaffrey, was quite the football player. He was a wide receiver for the Giants, the Niners, and the Broncos, a 3-time Super Bowl champ, who also made a Pro Bowl. And McCaffrey's mother was a standout soccer player at Stanford, so it was only fitting that he was going to excel in some sport, and what better sport to do that in than the NFL. Another baller who was part of that 2017 NFL draft was Joe Mixon, running back for the Cincinnati Bengals. This is his 6th year in the league. I don't think people outside of Cincinnati appreciate how good Mixon is. He has morphed into a special talent. In 2020, he was rewarded with a new contract, 4 years and $48 million. Last year was a career year for him. He rushed for over 1,200 yards, 13 touchdowns, along with 3 more touchdowns in the air. That was his 3rd season of over 1,100 yards rushing. This year, his stats were down a bit, but in Week 9, he blew the door wide open. He had 5 touchdowns. 4 of them were on the ground. 1 was in the air. That was against Carolina, and that tied a franchise record set by his teammate Jamar Chase for 5 touchdowns in a game. On Sunday, Mixon suffered a concussion versus Pittsburgh. I don't know what the status of that is at the moment. I'm going to guess worst case scenario, he might miss a game. The Bengals, they are keeping pace with the Ravens. They are just 1 game back in the AFC North. And they're doing this without their number 1 wide receiver, Jamar Chase, who had hip surgery not too long ago. I'm going to guess he's going to return back to the lineup within the next 2 weeks. If the Bengals have Chase and Mixon at 100% or close to 100% going into the postseason, the AFC better take notice, because the Bengals just might repeat as AFC champions. This was an in-person auto that I also got in 2019. This was at the Chicago Sports Spectacular. If you look on the lower right-hand corner, it is certified by JSA. Joe Mixon, one hell of a baller, and if he keeps up what he's been doing, he may one day get fitted with that gold jacket. Now I realize that Le'Veon Bell is not a current player, but his retirement is somewhat fresh, so I felt like he was worthy of an honorable mention in this video. This is an 8x10 that I got in person in 2017. It is certified by JSA. Bell, he had 5 great years in Pittsburgh, which resulted in 3 Pro Bowl selections as well as 2 All-Pro selections. He was often considered a top 3 running back in the league. And during his time in Steel City, he also caught for over 2,300 yards. He was getting tired of getting hit with that franchise tag. He wanted a long-term deal. He wanted some security. Pittsburgh did not bite, so he decided to sit out the 2018 season. And I believe that was the beginning of the end for Le'Veon Bell. He did go on to sign a multi-year deal with the Jets. In 2019, he had a decent year at the Meadowlands. He rushed for almost 800 yards. Nothing compared to the stats that he was putting up in Pittsburgh. Keep in mind, the Jets were abysmal at that time. The year after that, he split his time between the Jets and the Chiefs, and the year after that, he split his time between the Buccaneers and the Ravens. Earlier this year, he announced his retirement via social media and decided to pursue boxing. Not too long ago, he fought Adrian Peterson, future Hall of Fame running back, and knocked him out. So happy trails to Le'Veon Bell. I hope he succeeds in the square circle. And yeah, that is the third item that I have for you in this video. Now you know I gotta show love to my Philadelphia Eagles and their Bellcows. Listed counterclockwise from the left are 2 SIGs from Miles Sanders. And on the top is an autographed rookie card of Kenneth Gainwell that I got in person. The Sanders Beckett slab was a card show purchase. The Panini Contenders autograph was a gift from Ethan Lamb of Ethan Sports Cards and More. Chances are, if you're watching this, you're already subbed to his channel. If you're not, go on and check him out. Ethan is the man with the plan. He is at 12,000 subscribers and growing. Sanders, this is his 4th year in the NFL. He was a 2nd-round pick out of Penn State. Over the first 3 years of his career, he has averaged 813 yards on the ground. This year, he's already at 757. He is well on pace to have his first 1,000-yard rushing season and possibly parlay that into a Pro Bowl selection. He's also got 6 touchdowns, which is tied for a career high. Miles Sanders, a very important part of that Eagles offense. And Kenneth Gainwell, who was a 5th-round draft pick in 2021. You know, the Eagles, they really have a knack for picking out exceptional talent in the later rounds, and Kenneth Gainwell is a prime example of that. 129 yards on the ground this year, along with 3 touchdowns. Last year was his rookie season, and he had over 500 all-purpose yards. So there it is, a couple of autographs from the Bellcows of my Philadelphia Eagles. Go Eagles, go. We are 9-1. Next up, Green Bay, Sunday Night Football. The last piece that I have for you is a throwback mini helmet signed by Leonard Fournette, a.k.a. Lombardi Lenny, running back for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Fournette, born and raised in Louisiana. He played college ball at LSU. In 2017, he was the 4th overall pick. He was selected by the Jaguars. He spent 3 years in Duval County. 2 of those years resulted in 1,000-yard rushing seasons. He never made a Pro Bowl. I do believe in his rookie year he was snubbed of a Pro Bowl selection. This is his 3rd year with Tampa. As many of you already know, he was part of that Super Bowl winning team in Tom Brady's 1st year in Tampa. I think it's safe to say that Fournette is Tom Brady's safety blanket. When all else fails, he can hand it off or do a short pass to Leonard Fournette, and he's going to get some yardage. This was an in-person auto at Palm Beach Autographs. For those of you that are not familiar with them, they are a memorabilia chain in Florida. They got locations in Miami, Jacksonville, and Tampa. I got to meet him at their Tampa store. He signed this mini helmet. One of the nicest guys you want to meet. I got to chat with him for a few seconds. So there it is. The Buccaneers They are coming off a bye week. Fournette suffered a minor injury in that game in Germany, but it looks like he will be ready to go. This Sunday, they square off against the Browns in Cleveland. That should be a very manageable game for Tampa, but after that, their schedule gets tough. Their opponents include the Saints, the Niners, the Bengals, the Falcons. So, yeah, they're going to need a healthy Leonard Fournette as they go into the stretch, but right now, they got the lead in the NFC South. One thing that I did really appreciate about that Leonard Fournette signing was the rate being charged per autograph, which was $75 per item. Now, I realize in today's economy, $75 may be considered a lot of money to a lot of people, but let me provide you some context on what I'm talking about. Some of these autograph rates that current players charge, be it public signings or private signings, can be absurd. I'll give you two examples of what I'm talking about. Dansby Swanson, who is the shortstop for the Atlanta Braves, right now he is a free agent, he did a public autograph signing in Atlanta in 2021, just after the Braves won the World Series. And the rate for his autograph was $165 per item. Keep in mind, that year, he batted under .250, hit over 20 home runs, and had over 70 RBIs. A good player who at the time had one All-Star appearance, but by no means would I ever pay $165 for Dansby Swanson. His stats in 2022 were slightly better, but he is a good ball player, nowhere near being a superstar. I'll tell you the most egregious example of price gouging for an autograph session was Ezekiel Elliott, who did a public signing. It was a few years ago in Jersey. It was at a big autograph convention, and his rate was $350 per item. Now, Zeke, he is a top 10 running back. Maybe one day he will get into Canton, but there is not a chance in hell that me personally, I would ever pay $350 for Zeke's autograph. But to each his own. Hey, who am I to tell people how to spend their money? But going back to Leonard Fournette, I think $75 for a player of his caliber was quite reasonable. And he was super cool to interact with, like I said before. So that was just icing on the cake. So that wraps up part 21, some of my favorite autographs. I hope you enjoyed that. Hey, make sure to hit like and subscribe to my channel. And part 22 is around the corner. Most likely that will focus on current tight ends. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.